Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. I have a beautiful guest from West Ireland near Galway, Sharon Fitzmaurice. Now, I mispronounce her name every time I've been a guest on her show. I say Sharon Fitzmaurice, and it's Sharon Fitzmaurice. So we're going to get that totally down for the show today. She has had a fantastic journey, not an easy journey. 28 years ago, some trauma. And then 13, 14 years ago, lots of healing work having been done herself, for herself, but then helping others and on a variety of fronts. So a lot of healing modalities with her, from meditation, Reiki energy therapy, soul guidance, mindfulness, clinical hypnotherapy, journaling. She does nature walks, retreats, workshops. She's had 2 books, one that was about her personal life journey and letting go of what she needed to let go of. The other with 13 other therapists, where the proceeds go to a charity that helps the homeless. Finally, I want to mention her podcast. It's everywhere. And she helps clients globally. But her podcast is the Sharon Fitzmaurice Podcast. Easy to find. Sharon, the way you spell it, Fitzmaurice, Fitzmaurice podcast. Start looking for that now. Make sure you subscribe. Sharon, welcome to the show.
Michael, thank you so much for having me on. Lovely to see you again.
Great to see you. And we've interacted a bunch. I'm super comfortable having you on. I'm excited to have you on again in the future. Big hint. And you do wonderful work for others. You've really put yourself out there. You've had to live it. You've had to feel it at your own end. A lot of audience members are healers themselves, advanced, and so on. But can you talk to us about the first time that the universe actually, or one of those times that the universe, this is so big, we've got thinking, we know what we know, and a lot of us are afraid to step out of that to begin real living, more full living and living your unique life path. Can you talk to us about one of those special moments where even today you're still scratching your head a little, you can't believe it happened, but it was a pivotal moment that got you a little kick in the butt and moving forward, or just restored your faith in the universe, yourself, and life, the whole big picture?
Powerful question, Michael. Thank you. I suppose my biggest pull or answer from the universe came from the darkest night of my soul. And it was a time where, after all the trauma and anxiety and depression I had experienced in my younger life, right up to my early 20s, and I didn't want to be here any longer, so I believed. But it was really about ending the pain that I had experienced. And this time I was experiencing it mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I knew somewhere deep inside of me, I knew there was something stronger, but I didn't feel it because I was so closed off. But when it came to the darkest night of my soul and wanting to leave this world, I cried silently from my soul, "Someone please help me." And I felt that someone, something, I didn't know what to call it at the time, came in to support me. And the next morning I woke up tucked up in bed. I mean, so tucked up that I had to try and get my arms out of the covers. I was like I was bound in the bed to keep me safe. And I woke up that morning and I checked the door and it was still locked from the inside. So it wasn't one of my housemates that had come in and found me on the floor and put me to bed. So I asked that question, who was it? So questioning starting in my mind, was I meant to survive? Was I meant to live? And that changed my whole perception of who I was, why I had survived everything I had survived in my life, and where I wanted to start living my life for me. And it was huge because from that moment on, I really started to trust and believe that I was being guided and being looked after. So from the darkest night of my life, it became the most profound night of my life also.
Ooh, okay. So we're going to do the most basic question. It's going to leave you laughing. And I've asked every third episode guest this question, but do angels exist?
Yes.
Now, have you interacted with them? Have you seen them? Can you give us some flavor or just some of your experiences generically? And then if you want to give a specific, but also can you help others with their expectations so they tamp it down at one level and open it up at another level, because usually when we get up here, we're actually blocking and we're not just allowing down here. But I know you have, and I know you've got a good rapport. And so that's one of the amazing parts of your background for helping others. You tap into that and you help a lot of folks.
Mm. For me, angels can mean many things. And I know people have an expectation of an angel with the beautiful wings, and that's what they expect to see when they call on an angel to help them in their lives. And, I've worked with many people over the years, and they said, I wish I could see an angel. And I said, you've seen angels many times in your life, you've experienced them. Because your expectations are of the winged version of an angel to stand in front of you, you've maybe not noticed, or you've missed out on the opportunity to connect with them at that beautiful soul heart level. And my experience of angels from a very young age, like a feeling or a sense of energy. I could feel it as a child, as the energy building in the room. And I remember putting my hand out to bring the energy in, but also I didn't realize what I was doing as a child, but it was to make it smaller, and then it grew larger again. And it was something that I was curious about. I know that was my first experience of angels and spirit. It frightened me a little, as it does some people when they have that encounter. But as I look back now, I think, oh my God, they were always there for me. They were always present in my life, as they are for everybody in their lives. But again, we see them as something maybe outside of ourselves, where they're very much part of us because we're all connected energetically together. We're all in this beautiful universe together, and they're always helping us. The next time I experienced, many times, but another one that's coming to mind straight away, was I wanted to do a course, and I didn't have the financial means at the time, or I believed I didn't have the financial means. I was struggling with that belief of, having lack in everything. And it was again brought up from my childhood. So this is something I really wanted to do. It was a course working with the angels, connecting to ourselves and that divine inspiration and wisdom and guidance that's available to us. And I knew I really wanted to do it, and it was a stepping stone for me. And I thought to myself, I really want to do this, angels. Please, please make this work for me. And I said, if this is meant for me, it will happen. And I had given up work. So we had our married bank account, and then I had my other bank account, which there was nothing physically going into it, or so I believed. And then one day I kind of laughed to myself and I went, maybe I'll just go and check the account just in case. And I went to the account, and there was the exact amount of money that I needed to do this course. And I just took it out of the bank and said, thank you so much. And I went, and it was one of the most positive experiences in my life. And all of the things that I had felt, those connections with the angels, how they were helping us, it kind of reassured and reaffirmed how I was feeling for much of my life. But I didn't have the knowledge really about it until I did this course. So I knew they wanted me to learn more about them, and they wanted me to share with others. So everything I've done in my life that I've done for myself, I now help and share whoever I'm working with.
Oh, okay. So we're going to want to hear more about that in just a second. But you said something that I thought was really simple, really amazing, impactful for every one of us, which is if it's meant to be, it will happen. And that's a lot of trust, whether it's religious trust, non-religious trust, or faith. We'll call it letting go of this, the judging, the barometer, the wrong inner guidance, the stuff that says it can't happen, really. Talk to us more about how that's a great mantra. How do we incorporate a little more of that to allow the universe to do its job, angels to do their job, for us to get out of our own way and also do our own unique life path? Tell us more about trusting it can happen, it will happen.
So when we get this feeling inside of ourselves, we've all got that feeling. This really feels like something I'm passionate or excited about. It feels really powerful in my life. But our mind gets in the way and tells us you don't have the financial means, you don't have the time, you'd be no good at it. All of those silly beliefs, that are old. And what I would do is, okay, I'm not going to have to know the how and the when exactly, But what I'm going to do is I'm going to trust. And one of my favorite words is trust and believe. But my other favorite word is surrendering, and surrendering to the divine that there is a beautiful energy of me and my higher self that are so connected, and the angels and our spirit team and all of the people that have come before us know me better sometimes than I knew myself. They know my soul. My soul is part of this beautiful cosmic energy. And they're looking at me going, on a human level, you have no idea of the power of that beautiful soul of yours. It has such strength and courage. It wants to go out and live and experience the good and even the struggles. You just have to go with it. So I've learned to surrender my fears and my doubts and my worries, and to say, I trust that whatever is coming my way, that is going to help me grow and learn and hopefully go out there and share that with others. So my three words, trust, believe, but most importantly nowadays is to surrender and stop trying to control everything through the beliefs or the perspective of where you are in your life. Trust your heart. Trust your heart to say, this is where I really want to be. And I know it's going to happen for me if it's meant to be.
Beautiful. And when we say surrender, there's a lot of use of the word out there in society, just like any other word. It can have two meanings. We're talking just surrendering what doesn't serve, the part of us that gets in the way of experiencing life, loving more, allowing more, living more. And you're not surrendering any of your authentic power. You're not surrendering it to an organization or this group or that expert or that guru in India. Not that there's anything wrong with having a guru in India, but I'm saying it's the type of surrender that only does good for the highest purpose, highest love, so you can experience more in each moment. Okay, tell us a little more about your journey. You had gifts as a child. When did you start to put it all together and actually get going helping others?
Yes, the gifts, I didn't realize they were gifts. I thought I was there was something wrong with me because I could see and feel spirit. I know now there was a beautiful gift. They were never there to harm me or frighten me. They were there to support me and help me. But of course, I was living from a fight or flight mode at that time, trying to survive. As I got older, I suppose, as a teenager, I kind of just let go of every belief of everything, really rebelling within my life and myself and wanting to be free of all of the things that I felt trapped by. And I think it was really, oh, I can't tell you a definite time, but as I started to connect to myself more, when I started meditating and connecting into my heart, I could really start feeling the presence. And I remembered the presence and I remembered the feelings. And I remembered, you've been here all along. You've been with me all along. So instead of fearing them, I just asked them, like I would say to any new person, hi, how are you? And who are you? And why are you here? What are you doing in my room? And they would answer and they would say, you would know me as, and they might say Uriel or Archangel Michael. And when you have this feeling, you'll know that it's me. And I'm here to help you to have the strength to continue, or I'm helping you deal with the emotional imbalance in your life, that you can find more peace and calm within you. And the more I started listening to the energy of their presence in my life, I started recognizing that they were there not just when I sat and meditated, but when I was walking down my back garden, when I was with my children, when I was with my animals, when I was with my family and friends. They were always around us. They didn't just come when I summoned them, that they were always present, and their energy of love, unconditional love, their energy of wisdom was always present with me. And they were reminding me, like we're reminding everyone else, that that is all with you too, that they are with you too, no matter what your beliefs are, that there is a presence with you, whatever you want to call it, that is there to support you unconditionally through the great times, but also through the struggles. So for me, their presence has been like a warm blanket that I have surrounded myself with. And I feel a tender touch and sometimes a strong touch on my shoulders for them to remind me, come back down, come here, come back down to yourself. Stop getting into your head and going out there where it's not always the best place to be. Come back in here to you and trust whatever you're feeling and the guidance you're receiving right now. Pass that along and
Mm.
see how it serves you. And it has always served me well.
Oh, again and again and again. Fantastic. Okay, so I've got a lot bubbling around because there's so much energy going on, and I've got to mention a couple things. The question that's coming next is for folks to realize in the audience, just to get a reminder that there's no question too small, like where to have a cup of tea, just to brew one up and go sit on the patio or cubbyhole somewhere, read a book. There's nothing too big or too small, and an angel could juggle 10,000 of us asking the same question or a different question all at the same time. There's no limits. And that's part of our journey is, again, remembering love and everything else. But I had to mention, I don't know if you've got a car reflection going by, but you just had a white light go across you probably about 2 minutes ago. I'm seeing your aura, and I had an angel as a ball of light go up about 3 minutes ago. I've been, again, seeing your aura, which it's not new to me, but I don't usually turn it on. But I'm finding as a host on the show, again, every other guest, when I'm getting really relaxed and loving what you're saying, it's just happening. So I had to mention all of that. If you don't mind, ask or let us know how we can tap into the little stuff, which I'm going to argue that the charms, the small little charms of life, are actually one of the biggest components you can embrace to get going for living more. I know we sort of just knock a cup of tea or going for a walk or hugging the dog, but that kind of gets us charged up for the bigger stuff when we want to like go in some direction. Can you give us the pep talk about that? Because I know you're on it.
So for me, I always say the miracles that we're expecting in life, we've already received. So the miracle of just being able to get up in the morning and breathe is I'm breathing in the divine energy into me. Just by breathing, I'm not even aware of it. And speaking here to you from someone across the world, another miracle we take for granted every other day, having water flowing from my tap, having a roof over my head. The sun is shining in, believe it or not, in the west of Ireland today, shining in, yes, on my window, having water in a glass. If I sat and looked around, Michael, at everything just in my beautiful little therapy room right now, I can't help but believe this is a heaven on earth. I can't not believe that because everything around me is filled with love and joy. When I walk out into nature, the trees are not asking me for anything, but they're giving me so much. They're just present. And as I sit there, they're supporting me as I connect and ground myself to the beautiful earth that has graced us as this beautiful planet to live on. When I hear the birds singing in the morning, it's a reminder that I can hear, that I can see the beauty of the sky. They are the miracles of life. And all of this, if we believe in God or whoever we believe in, this is the energy of creation that's all around us every moment of the day. So when we're looking for the things that are way out of our scope, we need to come back and just appreciate these little moments that are the biggest moments and just to connect in. And I call it coming home to ourselves. And where is our home? Where is our home for all of us? Our home is deep within us. It's that beautiful soul spirit home that we have. And people say, oh, well, you know, when I pass away, I'll go home. You will, but you're already home because this body, this physical body, is the vehicle that your soul is gifted with to experience this human life. It's amazing and we take it for granted. So every morning I wake up and I'll say, I'm still here. I'm still here to experience this. I used to laugh and say, some morning I'll wake up and I won't realize I'm dead. And people would say, well, you won't if you're dead. And I said, well, I will because I'll be alive, but my body may be finished in this world. But I still go on. I still exist outside of the physical body. But there's a reason we've chosen this physical body. There's a reason we have chosen this character, if you like, as Sharon or Michael, to experience the different things in our lives to our family and friends, where we live, the locations, what's going on in our environment. It's all to experience the joys and beauty, but also the struggles of life.
So you'll wake up out of your bed And then you'll realize it's more of a Hollywood set, dollies and lots of angels pushing things around like a studio setup. As you walk away from your bedroom, which you thought was your bedroom for about 2 seconds, you'll be greeted by a man or a woman who will gently break it to you over a cup of a good brew up, a nice cup of tea, and you'll sit together and you'll get slowly do a little reconciliation.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I got told by I have 3 business managers: Archangel Michael, Rebecca, and Charlotte. And you talked to Charlotte before the show. Charlotte's the one I was told. Not that some angels, they cough up goods that you never asked about. And so past lives for me, I'm not really into the past life thing. It's not that I doubt it, but I'm kind of like, why spend any time on it? And so same thing with when I'm in a past, it'll be in my sleep. So I think that's a good way to go. I don't want to step off a curb and 18-wheeler. That just seems a little more sudden. It sounds more fun to sort of wake up and be on a Hollywood set, or you're surfing.
Yeah.
And when you get off the ride, the beach is no longer Maui. It's, dreamland. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've done a lot. You've seen a lot. Where are you now on your healing path? Because in a way, the expansion, the growing, the patience, the compassion for yourself, the self-love, none of it stops. And the second you settle on it, that's when you locked up for a decade. We get to be an expert, we do stuff, we start to get paid, or we put out a book, it's a bestseller, blah, blah, blah. And we get hung up, whether we know it or not, in roles. It's just another one of those things. Is we're human. Welcome to being human. How are you staying fresh? How are you not pushing yourself, but allowing yourself to keep expanding? You sounded like it just now when you were describing all that. Talk to us more about, you've had different stages looking back as a healer in so many different ways. Are you doing bigger groups now? Talk to us about your journey as a healer.
Well, first, I would always say, I don't know if I'd ever call myself a healer, because on a soul level, I would always say that the soul will choose whether it wishes to heal in this lifetime or not. And that may lend itself a little bit to past lives. And for me, I don't have so much emphasis on past lives, but sometimes it comes up with my clients in they have gone through everything, the layers and layers of stuff in this life. And there's something that, again, subconsciously, or they're carrying with their DNA that maybe it's not of theirs, it's of their grandparents. And they had an experience with that grandparent in a past life, but they weren't grandparent and grandchild. They could have been husband and wife, and they're still carrying that. So that needs to be healed, honored, and surrendered for them to be able to let it go and experience the fullest form of this life experience. So that's where we could bring in past lives. For me, I will guide and support people on their journeys. And again, I always say that the best way to empower anybody is to give them the tools and techniques and the awareness of what is going on in their energy in this present moment. So when I meet a client, as I always do, I have tuned into their energy before they come. I again trust this beautiful process that even though I've never met the person physically, that before they come, their soul energy is going to connect to my soul energy, and we're going to share information so that we give each other the best to support this healing session. So when they come in, Michael, and I'll say, how are you? And it's lovely to meet you. And then they'll say, well, I'm just here to relax, or there's a few bits going on, they're not bad. And I'll say, well, I'll just read you what I felt in your soul energy. And their mouth drops open and they go, how did you know that? And I said, your soul told me. And maybe that's the first little insight they have to energy, or that how their thoughts and emotions are felt outside of their physical body, that they are put out into the universe without them being aware of what they're sending out there from their hearts, from their minds, from their soul. And then that gives them that little awareness. Oh, wow. So you've never met me, but you can feel all of this. And I said, absolutely. And then I said, well, where are we going to start from? So the responsibility comes from giving them the awareness so that they can then empower themselves to make better choices. Of course, I'll support them along the way. And I always say to them, you always have angels present. Your spirit family are with you. They're all supporting you as well. And that you're not doing this alone. And for some people, that is the most profound feeling, because they may have felt alone in what's troubling them or what's going on with them. And suddenly they have this awareness that they're not alone. Even once they leave my office, they have this beautiful team of angels and spirit guides and teachers with them. And it's to connect to them and they connect to them by connecting into their own heart. What is it I feel? And when I ask for that angel's assistance or my spiritual guide's assistance, what do I feel? So my way of helping others is to empower them. I would never say I'm an expert at anything. I'm always saying I'm still learning, Michael. I'm an internal student of life. By sharing my book or the podcast or anything I do online, it's always to say, I'm still learning. I still go through stuff in my life, but it doesn't seem to grind on me or stay nagging at me as long, because now I have the awareness of how to change it and that I can surrender it so that I empower myself with the good and the balance that I have in my life every day. So I have to be an example if I'm going to be teaching it and preaching it. But I believe people are so strong. They've just forgotten the strength of their own soul. They've forgotten how amazingly bright and beautiful their souls are. And the soul to fit into this little physical body is like going, oh, it's tight in here, but let my energy expand. But we keep it hidden in the physical body, thinking this is all we are. When our soul is expanding out all around us, it's the colors of the rainbow on the most beautiful day, and that can be felt by people that are miles, hundreds of miles away from you if you allow yourself. And that's what it's all about. It's allowing yourself to shine. And that's what I would like to help more people with. So I'm doing that through my podcasts. I'm doing that through my work with my clients and groups. And I've worked with groups in America, across Europe, all over Ireland. And I'm still learning every day. I'm learning how to be a better guide, a better teacher. I'm learning to listen more. I'm learning to interpret energy differently through technology, what I feel, when to say it, when not to say it, all of those things. I'm still learning, Michael.
Gorgeous again. I love this. Okay, I'm going to mention your website. I'm going to do the American version of mispronouncing your name just so people get the spelling. I'll spell it out. But it's Sharon Fitzmaurice, mindfulness.com. But Sharon Fitzmaurice, if you're an American, didn't know any better. So it's Sharon the way you spell it, Fitz, Fitzmaurice, mindfulness.com for those who like to peek and get going at looking at the website. But also you'll find the Sharon Fitzmaurice podcast. It's been around for a while. It's on every platform. It's well received, well ranked, and so on. Hey, I wanted to get to, and I'm going to totally forget it. Oh my God, I'm going to forget the question that I had teed up. It was so simple. Okay, give us an example how people can take their own first step, either towards you. Can they get a free 15-minute consult? Or are you beyond that and you know, people should book you for an hour? Or talk about how a person just first thing in the morning can take their own step on their self-discovery path.
So the first step I would say to anybody is the awareness of when you wake in the morning, that you are awake. We're awake. Once we open our eyes, we're awake. And taking that first breath into the body is the anchor into the present moment, into this day, and into your life. So we should never take for granted that beautiful breath. So because we'll know when we don't have the breath any longer, we'll be going, oh my God, I can't breathe. But when we have that breath, it's taking a breathing in life into yourself. And I always say when we breathe out, we breathe a bit of ourselves out into the universe, into the world. So what do we want to breathe out from ourselves? So in the morning, I breathe out gratitude. I make an intention silently or out loud. Sometimes I light a candle. Sometimes the candle is in my heart. And I would say, I want to do the best for myself and others today. That's usually my intention and how I start the day. But some days there's intentions that can be a little bit bigger because they might be dealing with particular clients or particular groups. There could be family issues, whatever it is. And I'll make the intention very purposeful. And what I would always say is throughout the day, take little purposeful pauses and check in with yourself and check in and say, how am I doing today? You know, is my intention that I made this morning still here? Or have I forgotten it and now I've got caught up in other things? Keep coming back to the breath. Use it as your anchor, not just into your body, but that connection into your soul energy. What does my energy feel like? Have I ever questioned it? Am I aware of it? When I'm present in my energy, can I feel connections to the angelic realm or to my spirit team? or to my loved ones in spirit, do I feel that connection when I actually stop and pause? So that would be the first step in connecting to yourself. Usually what people would do, they would contact me through my website. They would ask for a session, or they might tell me a little bit about what's going on. Sometimes they don't tell me anything. I kind of prefer that. So it doesn't give me any ideas, because I want to be open. I want to be so open to the person coming that I don't have any. What we do as a human way is we form, different impressions in our mind. And then what we're doing is judging. So for me, I just leave it completely open. I might have the person's first name or just an email address, and then they will book a session through the website, and they can do that in person or online distantly, whichever they wish to do. And then we will work. And a lot of the times I work with people once and it has changed everything for them. Other times I have to work with people maybe once every few weeks. But again, for me, it's about, you shouldn't have to come to me every week for a year. Then I'm doing something wrong. I've got many clients that come yearly. I have a lady flying, from Europe to coming in to see me, and another lady coming from America, actually, and then incorporating a few days holiday here because we had connected so beautifully, and that she put her trust in me because I had created a safe space for her. So if it's not me, whoever it is that you go and see, form a connection. What feels right in my heart? What is my intuition telling me? Is this person right for me to go on the next part of my journey, or start my journey, or to empower myself? Is this person right? And learn to trust yourself.
Beautiful. Okay. This is going to be a really narrow question, and it's still fun. Signs, like you're getting ready to help a client and a cardinal shows up. Again, I don't know the birds of Ireland, but I'm gonna have to do what I see here.
Yeah.
Tufted titmouse, a cardinal, or we have a caracara, the Mexican eagle, red-tailed. Did I say it right? Red-tailed hawks are my absolute favorite. Very special moments when any of those guys show up. Can you talk to us about, once in a while, there must be times when you're about to do the healing or listening and you get something additional beyond the usual connection? Can you or just personally, as you're going around your day, to help you slow down and everything else, can you share some flavor there? And then I was going to mention something about Gandhi, which I don't want to forget. That'll come after we talk bird signs and everything else.
Lovely. So even this morning, I was getting ready for a client, and what I like to do sometimes, and I say to spirits, because I'm quite playful as well, and they know my spirit guides I always say they have a great sense of humor like me. The angels, I'm always laughing a lot. Even when I'm really serious, I have a good sense of humor. I see the lighter side of things more than the heavier side of things. And this morning, when I was getting ready, I could feel the energy for this client really building up in the room. So I put my video on. And like you said, I could see and feel the energy, and I can still feel it moving across the room. And it was captured on the video.
Oh, nice.
So I went, now, Sharon. And it wasn't like, I wasn't going to show anybody else, but it was to me going, every time you feel that, it's present. Seeing it on the video is always like reassurance, I suppose, And what we love here in Ireland, we don't have cardinals, but we have robins, like the robin, the redbreast robin. We see them all the time. And when there is this beautiful feeling in Ireland that when we see a robin, it's a sign from a loved one in spirit. So lots of robins are dancing around our gardens, in this beautiful weather and even in the bad weather. And when we see them, we always say someone has come to visit. And it makes us stop. And it's usually the first person you're thinking of will be present. Their energy is with you. So I do that quite a lot. I know, even just talking about my mother, when my sister passed away years ago, my sister passed away in October when there should be no butterflies. And when we were reposing my sister's body, a butterfly flew all around us. And we all just stopped and knew it was a sign from her that she's free now, and that she's free from her earthly struggles and challenges. And whenever we see butterflies, we also say there's somebody here. And butterflies are a sign of transformation. And for me, it's like something maybe within us or in our lives is transforming, and it might be hard, but the butterfly is a symbol of hope and that everything will turn out okay. So to just look around you, as I said, go out in nature and just listen, feel, and be present with it. And you'll get so many signs. I always feel the trees whispering. I feel them, I call them the grand masters, Michael. And I feel when we stop, the energy of the divine and of the earth energy moves through them. And if you listen, you actually hear them whispering to you whatever you need in that moment. So for me, we're getting signs all the time. I'm stopped in my tracks many times, Michael, by beauty, within my day or within my world. Sometimes it's a person. I say there's many earth angels in this world, and it can be a stranger on the street that will say something to you, or someone will comment on one of your posts, and it's exactly what you needed to hear at that time. And you'll know that's the divine message. You'll know it's come from not just the person, but from the divinity within them to let you see and hear what you needed in that moment. So never disregard, I always say, anything, especially the simple things that come into your life on any given day.
Well, names are my opportunity for growth. Never have been too good with those as a kid and everything else. Same thing with street names. But so my first Austin home, there's a tree in the front, and then there's a fence, and it's sort of a mini green belt. And there's definitely a particular tree. And I ended up naming them, or I think I listened, or someone else listened, but it was Fred, and the FR was for front, Ted in the back. And then later when we moved, and you could listen to the trees, I'd have people touch the tree, get a hug. And can be a little difficult because you'll make it difficult, but it doesn't have to be. If you want to see the aura on a tree, to me, that's a really big moment. You're at peace. So maybe put your feet up, have an iced tea if you're in America, a tea in Europe, but allow and let it come to you. That's a big, big moment. Our second home north of Austin had a bunch of trees and I think what they call a grove in Texas. And so one tree had a great sense of humor. The ringleader was Henry, kind of the boss, and sort of the ambassador is the better word. But a really long tree that went out over the road, they have these crazy trees that can stretch out, gave Theodore Frederic as the name. And now I'm so slow, it took me months to realize that's Ted and Fred. And that there was a sense of humor and connection, just because I was missing the old place. And I had my first cat passed, and I'm looking out a window, and it wasn't time for fireflies, but I'm seeing golden fireflies everywhere, whatever color they are, yellow. And it's a very Disney moment. I'm yelling out in the household. I'm seeing fireflies. No one else is seeing it, so that's great. And it didn't really exist. Again, it wasn't time for fireflies. Now, I didn't put it all together. It was months later. I'm getting told, I had 2 episodes of that. I'm getting told it wasn't actually real. It was angels and fairies making it for me because I was so depressed about my poor kitty. But the second time it happened, I had other household folks see it. So I wasn't alone on that. But beautiful. So I'm going to encourage folks to simply ask, and do you mind taking us through the step? It's the most basic step in the world. But how can you just coach a person in that very brief step of asking and allowing? And remind us how simple it is to put it out there, just to see a bird or get a sign or a tree or fireflies or a cup of tea, anything. Can you take us through the most basic step in the world, but the Sharon Fitzmaurice patented method?
Well, again, I suppose it's for me, it's usually we only ask when we're desperate, we're looking for help or support. But I would say start when you're not feeling desperate. Again, start today. I would really like a sign from spirit, from the angels, whatever shape or form that's going to take. But what I'm going to do is I am going to open my awareness. So I'm going to open my eyes, and I'm not just going to be like looking for it. I'm just going to be very aware of everything around me. Because again, when we're looking for something, we're desperate for it. So we seem to push it further and further away. And we need that sign so much that we miss out on all the other signs that are right in front of us. So I would again say, ask for it. If it's a particular sign that you'd like, you can ask for that. But I always leave it open because I just love the wonder of what it might be. There's my allowing and surrendering to receiving what I need to. And it would be to be more mindful in your day-to-day life, to be more mindful in nature, mindful to the people around you by listening to them, the inspiration you might hear on the radio or from someone on a podcast or reading a book. It could be opening up and finding one line in a page. Again, it could be something that you need to hear right now. The divine have an amazing way of getting information across to us. And you might hear somebody having a conversation beside you in a coffee shop, and you'll think, that's exactly what I was thinking about. And I feel like now I'm earwigging, I'm taking note of what they're saying because my ears are out here because I've heard this. But what they're talking about resonates with what I was asking about. That's a sign. There's so many ways we do. So just open your ears and your eyes, listen, be present, and just receive whatever it is that around you. Because the minute you do that, you're going to get signs all the time.
Can you imagine how many angels were involved in getting you to that cafe at that exact moment? And then the other couple that was chatting, just the synchronicity of it all. That's a lot of teams. And then remember, your road got blocked there. You had to go over there, the parking spot there, and the timing. Wow.
Yeah. And it is synchronicity. It's because the energy is aligning and the universe is conspiring to bring everything together.
Good. We're back on, and I'll edit that out. That's the universe saying hi right there.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so the cafe thing and just allowing and seeing signs all around you, I'm going to rephrase it a couple of different ways. See with all of you, or the Zen thing, seeing without seeing, being in your heart. Your heart knows what to do. Just get out of your own way and really be the catcher's mitt. Let's use an American baseball. You don't have to worry about pitching or outfielding or the coaching or the dugout or the bats. Just catch what's tossed your way, but go big. Now, I did want to mention Gandhi, because you said something earlier that was great. You felt you needed to be walking the path before you suggested anyone else walk any direction or just go within. And so there's that classic story of Gandhi. It's a very quick one. A mom brings her child in and sits down before Gandhi and says, tell him to stop eating sugar. And he says, come back in 2 weeks. So they come back in 2 weeks and he's like, stop eating sugar. And she's like, why did I have to wait 2 weeks? He's like, well, I needed to quit, sugar before I was going to tell the little one to stop eating sugar. So it just reminded me of that right away. I had to mention it.
That's very good.
Yeah. And so again, I just had another angel like 4 minutes ago come in and do twirls and then stay above us. So I've been completely distracted watching your energy flow and everything else. So I've been loving everything that I'm hearing. Can you talk to us about one of the modalities that you do? Clinical hypnotherapy, Reiki, just straight energy healing. You're an intuitive. You obviously feel a lot. You have to be careful in what you say, so that a person can receive it and be in the right place to hear it. That's not easy for any of us. It takes a lifetime to get used to that stuff, and allowing and being patient. Okay, so talk to us more about juggling all of that. And then how do you know which modality you just do? Or have you settled on just a broader way you handle everything? Use your words on this. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, what I do, Michael, is I bring in every aspect of everything that I have been studying over the years. It's also trusting my intuition, trusting the angels and the divine spirits that come to work with my clients and me. I always say I'm not doing this alone. They're with me, supporting me, and they're always helping me. And I ask what's best for my client. So it will always be a reading of their energy. That's the intuitive part before they even come. When they come, then it will be more the transpersonal work, and going into more, I suppose, the awareness or a little bit in the mind and the emotions at that time, and being able to speak it out. So that's the talk therapy part of it. And then there may be a session where they lay on the therapy bed and you're going to be working on them in an energetic way. And again, and I always say, as I'm teaching Reiki to my students, when I was younger, I wanted to be a dancer, but I obviously didn't become a professional dancer. But when I am working on people and their energy, I feel like it's a dance. I feel like it's a movement. I feel like the energy is guiding me where I need to go, where there's blockages, where there is trauma stored. And you can work within and around all over the body and through their energy fields, and just let the energy go where it needs to with a little bit of help. And again, the person may be lying on the bed, and afterwards they may say, I felt like there was waves moving through me, waves and little ripples. Other times they'll feel like water was washing over them. And these are all the elements that we work with, of course, the earth element, water, air, and ether. So again, we're using everything around us, and we're bringing the energy in to support and align and balance the person that I'm working on. Again, there's been many ways that spirit have worked with me and through me as I'm working on a client. And what I do again at the start of the session, I would say, whatever the client needs and whatever is for their highest good today, please help me to do that for their highest good, not for my highest good, but for their highest good, because it's where their soul is ready to go. And one of the most powerful things I have learned over the years is nothing will come up that the person is not strong enough to deal with. So that's where my trust comes in. Whatever comes up in their energy, whatever comes up in the healing session before, during, or afterwards, it's because the person on a soul level is strong enough to deal with it at this time. So I've trusted in that process now for the last 15 years. So I keep going for another while until something else happens that I could do otherwise. But usually I just trust the energy of the person, what they need on a soul level, because that's where I'm working from first. And then we start working on the physical, mental, and emotional sides, because they're usually the ones that are caught up in the trappings of life and the challenges. But a soul level, it always knows what's best. So I just bring everything I know, Michael, into my work with my clients and my groups. When I'm working with groups, I will get everyone to introduce themselves, and I start feeling the energy of each person, and then as a group and throughout. And I found this with my retreats quite a lot. I might have in the early days did up a big schedule and what the theme of this might be, and then we're laughing because after the first opening circle, now I know what the theme is, now I know where I'm going, and everything that I had planned is going to be really directed by the energy of the group. And I have to listen and honor that. And that's when healing happens. That's when the flow happens. It's not about me and my schedule, it's about the schedule of the energy and where it's going to be directed through one session, then another session, through another session. And then by the end of that weekend, we're all sitting back going, oh my, wow, that is amazing. The transformation that happens when people connect as a group together, they're all coming with a purpose to heal, to let go, to empower themselves and grow and learn. And they're all coming in, whether they know or not, on a soul level, that's what they're coming in to support each other. And they've probably known each other for many lifetimes on a soul level, and they've agreed, again, synchronicity, coming back into this space at the same time through the choices they make, they know is going to help them, even if they're a little bit scared.
So whether it's a workshop, a retreat, a nature walk, or just one-on-one Zoom or internet, or just remotely, whichever way to say it, or in person, there's something about boundaries, energy. You keep hitting on it perfectly in terms of allowing the universe just to do its job, your angels, your guides, the flow, and also the person's higher self, their soul. And I've hopefully hit the right words and the right everything.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's lingering energy, and I'm totally hearing that you're set up so that this takes care of itself. Can you talk to us about that 1 in 1,000 moment where there's a heaviness still around? How can we have tighter energy practices, whether it's just an individual going through their day, or they're a healer out there with their own practice and they haven't been setting up enough energetic boundaries so that they're absorbing some of that on them, which then takes either an hour, a clearing session, a couple days, weeks. They don't even pick it up, and they're down for a while. I mean, we're all energy sponges in a way. Talk to us about how to have a clean energy practice or cleaner energy practice. Some specifics. Can you give us, and this isn't a war story, it's a peace story, a love story, a healing story, a love affair. Talk to us about that one time though, where maybe something slipped in and you were like, wow, that was big. And I still got to do a little of get the broom out and clean the house a little, or wherever I'm at.
For me, it would be, and again, it was a huge learning experience, Michael. And it wasn't anything really huge, but it was just, I felt very drained after a particular, and this was kind of in my early days starting out when I wanted to help everybody and I wanted to, make everyone feel absolutely 100%. And then I realized as the more I worked with my spirit team and I worked with people energies, that it's not up to me, it's up to that person. So that was a big learning experience. But in part of that learning experience, and again, as I said, it was years ago, but there was a person that was very heavy energy, and her friends had forced her to come to see somebody, and I was nearest. So she hadn't chosen this for herself. She was in a very bad place. And I sat and I felt like there was no connection on a soul level. And after she left, I felt distraught because I couldn't connect with her on a soul level. And I felt her energy still in the room and still around me. But what I was connecting with was her despair. And this, what I will say to people as I'm training them now to be beautiful energy therapists themselves. When you start, connecting and wanting to do so much for others, you're leaving yourself quite open as well. But you have to remember that if you're doing everything for your highest good and your intention is to do everything for the other person's highest good, and that you are saying that I don't have to keep anything of that person after they've left. It's not mine. I'm here to guide and support them. I'm here to help them move and align and balance their energy in whatever way is for their highest good. I don't need to hold on to it. So I made this a really good practice for myself. And I said, anybody that crosses my threshold will be a positive energy for me, my business, my practice, for themselves. And, I listed out a load of things. I said it once and I believed it and I let it go. And I have just had the most amazing client experiences ever since. One of the things I will do, and it's just a very kind of brief thing, I will always open my window, winter, summer, spring, or autumn, just to let that energy out, whatever it is. I don't even dwell on it, and just to bring in the new energy back again. It's just, again, it's energy goes in and out, it's up and down. But again, what I've done on a subconscious level is I've said, I'm not carrying it, but I'm bringing in that fresh new energy to brighten up the space and myself for the next person that's coming. So if there is anybody out there that is feeling like, I hear this all the time, oh, it's because I'm an empath. We're all empaths. As a human, living this life, as a spiritual being, we of course feel the needs and wants of others. We feel the intensity of the things that are going on in the world. And sometimes we take it on board because we feel helpless. I would say none of us need to feel helpless because you are the divine walking in human form. And inside of you is the light of the divine. And if you shine that from your heart, your eyes, your mouth out into the world, you can't feel helpless. Even though you may not be physically there to help a person or a war-torn country, if you shine the divine light through your heart and out to others, you're doing something consciously. You're not sitting back and feeling helpless. So if you can do that for others, why can't we do it for ourselves? So when I'm in this, or was in that state, I just reconnected back to the divine light within me. And in what I had really found was I connected with the despair that I had once felt within myself, and it triggered something for me. So if you're always going around feeling like you're drained and there's heaviness around you, it's within yourself also. That client is just mirroring what you're holding. And again, it's an opportunity to be more aware, to heal, and to grow. And again, on a spiritual level, it's what we came here for, was to learn and evolve and grow even more.
Mm, beautiful. Okay. So you had mentioned earlier in the show and also just now about putting it out to the universe, what you want to bring in, and you didn't mind piling it on. Why not? But let's go away from the tons of details because a person knows the whole litany and the long list of stuff they'd love to bring in. What's the simplest, again, phrase, and we kind of touched on it the first breath in the morning. What's the simplest way a person can take that step that opens the door to more heart, more gratitude, more interacting with the universe? Take us through again one of those basic requests that gets things moving.
So for me, again, it would be connecting into the heart, sitting with the heart energy and asking, what do I need? And when I realize or I'm aware of what I need, then I can ask for what I need that's going to help me. But in that awareness, we also say, do I really need that? Is that really important for me? Really behind the need, what is there? There's something else. So it always brings us back further and further to the awareness of, understanding yourself better, and then really asking for what it is that's going to help you in your life. So I remember this gentleman years ago, and he said, I want a big house and a fast car, and I want all of these things. And I said, really? I said, everything is possible, but why do you want it? Because I'd like to have it. And I said, how is it going to enhance your life? And he said, well, I'll have a bigger house and a faster car. And I said, will that create joy in your life? And he said, well, it will when I get them. And I said, and then what? Then what's the next big thing that you will need to create joy again? Because joy is fleeting when it's materialistic. I said, the joy that you're missing is within yourself. And then he eventually got to understand it, because he did get a few of the big things that he believed he needed in his life, but they didn't bring joy and love into his life, into his heart. They were outside the door and they looked fabulous. He was living in the big mansion, but he was living alone. So the difference is we can say we want all of these lovely things, but what is it? And we come back to and you said it, the basic needs right now in this moment. If I connect into my heart and you think, I want this, I really need it. Why do you need it? What is it going to bring into your life? And if you go, well, nothing really, but I'd like to have it, go back behind it, go underneath it. What is it that you're lacking within yourself that you feel stuff or somebody else, another person, will give you that you're lacking? Because we can give ourselves everything we need, and everyone else after that is a bonus in our life or a blessing in our lives. The beautiful houses and cars are again bonuses and blessings, but we have to feel fulfilled within ourselves. You deserve to have everything that life has to offer you. Absolutely. You can have the beautiful dreams and holidays and wherever you want to go, that's all possible. But it all starts by connecting into your heart. How can I fulfill myself in this moment? By asking for what I really need. And again, we are building the foundation of a strong heart and mind to know that everything else that comes into our lives, if it was taken away tomorrow, would be okay as well. But here, right now, I have everything I need within me.
Spot on. But I didn't see it here on the list. Emotional firewalking. You offer that to people too. Okay.
I sure do.
So I wanted to get to back to angels and maybe seeing full on. I'm not trying to sensationalize it. It's available, but can you take us through a time you definitely saw an angel, encountered an angel? It was 3 weeks later. It was the stranger in the little village, and you were like, "Oh my God!" Or your energy just went off the charts. And they were saying just what you saw in the Hollywood movie last night on the black and white film, or something like that. There's crazy synchronicity, and sometimes, like for me, it's not years later or months later, but I mean, sometimes I'm a little slow, or you just get the first name of the angel, but it's 2 years later before you realize Abe was Abraham. There's all of those, for me, it's a long slog, whereas a lot of other people, it's like that. Talk to us about, one of those interactions.
God, there's been so many. I see angels in different forms, maybe not the winged version that many people want to see. I have felt them stronger than anything. And the way I see them quite often is when I'm particularly working with people. And I had a lovely lady, I remember years ago, and the angel that was present with us that day was the most beautiful flowing colors of violet, pinks, and white. It was flowing energy. It wasn't a solid, like a statue. It was flowing color. And while I was at the client's head, the angel was working on the client's feet. And I was just kind of standing there, going, my client has her eyes closed and I'm in awe here. Look at this beautiful presence. And the angel just looked up and smiled at me and almost gave me a wink, and I was smiling, going, they do have my sense of humor. But afterwards, I said to the client, I said, what did you feel throughout the session? Your eyes were closed. And the lady said, I know you were at my head, but I swear I could have felt you at my feet at the same time. So I said, that was actually one of your angels. And she said, oh my God, I knew there was something there, but I just kept telling myself in my head, as we do, she must have moved down to my feet and back up to my head and down to my feet and back up to my head. And I said, well, what did you feel when you really connected with the energy at your feet? She said, I just felt all of these purples and pinks flowing up through my body. And that was exactly the color energy of the angel that was present with us on the day. And that lady got up from the bed that day and she said that was her first time to experience the feeling of an angel. And it was stronger than any sight. And I knew it because we remember things by how we feel it, how we experience it. Because our sight, we will see it and we'll go, but did I really? Was it my imagination? Maybe I'm going a little bit crazy. Nobody else saw it, only me. So the feeling of it. So I would always say, if I can feel it really strongly, I am so, it's a confirmation, I suppose. We shouldn't look for a confirmation, but it is a confirmation that if I'm feeling the energy really strong, I know the presence is with me. And as I feel it, they seem to then appear, and it's always for me in color or form, and it's always flowing. It's never like they're just stern and statues. They're always flowing in movement and energy and love. They're moving through us, around us, and with us all the time.
Okay, so Ireland. Talk to us about Ireland and how beautiful it is energetically, the flows versus, if you don't mind, compare, contrast. We're on a show. I'm going to put it this way. I know every place is different, yet they're the same. There's an intensity, there's an incredibleness. Can you put a little, paint the picture for us for Ireland? And I'm not talking culturally with different religions or anything like that, but you can touch on that too, because Ireland has a huge belief system as well. So there's multiple layers at the human level. But talk to us energetically about Ireland and in a way that audiences around the globe could understand. I have not been there. Looking forward to it. I think I have a little bit of Irish blood on the Italian side of the family. But we're all connected to Ireland if we want to do the tourist commercial.
Yes.
So talk to us. Yeah, the ad council just called and they're like, yeah, we're all connected to Ireland. Visit tomorrow. But
Yeah.
Sharon, take us through a little bit of Ireland at one level and then maybe also the belief systems as well.
Ireland, I suppose, is the land of a thousand welcomes. That's what it's known as. The Irish are extremely friendly. We like to welcome everybody into our communities. We like to find out about them. People call it nosy. I call it curious, that we want to know and get to know people. And, so we have a connection. There's a really strong feeling of connection in Ireland with anybody that we come into, contact with. Irish people, and that I'm smiling when you said we all have Irish connections. You definitely have, because the Irish traveled the globe during the harshest times in Ireland during the famine, and even later on in the 80s, and even now. There's a lot of young people going to Australia and America and Canada. They're going to work for better opportunities. But I think, again, it's a natural progression now. But in the times during the famine when they had to leave, there was a huge amount of sadness and poverty. And if people were leaving, they wouldn't have seen the people that were left behind again. That's usually what happened. But later on, then people did go, and some got to come back. Some Irish families went to visit maybe the States for the first time, or Canada or Australia. So it started making the world a little bit smaller. And one of the things when people come to Ireland, they notice the green, the color of nature. Even as you're flying in, it's green everywhere. That's because we have so much rain. So we have a lot of rain in Ireland. Sunshine is very welcomed and it's never taken for granted because we don't see it as often as many other countries in the world. So we have a beautiful country of mountains and lakes and rivers. We have big cities. We have small rural villages. We have very historical buildings and castles and places that have good and bad history within them. And there's so much history in Ireland that if you spent forever walking around, you'd still never get to visit all the sites that we have in this beautiful country. And during the pandemic, many Irish people themselves started exploring more of their communities, finding out more about their own local areas. And as a result, then people started spending more time in Ireland and going to different counties, going to the north, south, east, and west of Ireland, and going, wow, our country is amazing and beautiful. But again, we'd taken for granted and we were hopping on a plane going somewhere else, usually for sunshine, Michael. But I think we're starting to appreciate our land, our country more and more. On a spiritual side, we have such history. We have the fairy folk. We have, oh my God, there's so much history, and that would be for another podcast. But I definitely ask people if they do come to explore, the deeper connection the Irish people had with the earth, going back before Catholicism or Christianity, took over what they called the pagan beliefs, but they weren't pagan beliefs. They were beliefs of a people that used the moon and the sun to guide them. They used the seasons to live by, to plant, to live their lives. They had beautiful traditions that they lived by. And then obviously with religion coming in, it took over all of those traditions and turned them into different Christian or Catholic traditions. And as a result of that, what happened was there was abuse of power within the church. There was abuse of power and greed. A lot of awful things happened in our country as a result of that. And what I think it was, it woke up people to, living under the power and the, I suppose, beliefs of one institution that we should all be the same. And I always remember one of my spirit guides telling me that religion was only a stepping stone to spirituality, that we all need faith and belief in our lives. And sometimes that faith and belief comes from a religion within your vicinity or what you've been brought up to. But when you open up to true spirituality and the power within you, and that God and the divine reside within each and every one of us, you realize that the church part may be just a place that you need to feel part of, that you need somewhere to go every week or every day to sit. Maybe you need to be able to recite your prayers so that you feel like you're being heard, and that for me kind of comes from a place of upbringing, and that's all they ever knew, but maybe they're quite happy in it. So I never judge anybody for what they believe or don't believe in. For me, it always comes back to, if I can do good for myself and others, I'm living the best religion ever, because we can give and receive without having any religion, but knowing that we're all divine beings eternally, and that's what we're always going to be.
Beautiful. I'm going to blow some sage your way. We did it before the show. We've done it previously. Audience folks have either seen this in prior shows. If it's a first time, wherever you are in the world, even if it's 5 years from now, you can catch the scent of sage. I'm going to use a red-tailed hawk feather to blow it your way. And some people taste it in their mouth. Some people start getting it the second it's getting lit. It's just traditional white sage. And this happens to be the one from Juniper Ridge, consistent company out of California. And if you don't mind describing for us the smell in Ireland from San Antonio, Texas, but it's really either plant medicine, angels, light. There's 19 different ways to describe this.
What does it smell like to me right now? It feels like a grounding almost, Michael, like connecting to the earth. It feels like my 2 feet are buried in a load of rich Irish dark soil.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, I think you get the annual prize for the best description of sage online during the Angels Positivity and Love show. My microphone is right here. Every time I look over, I'm looking at my microphone. That's beautiful. And now you had mentioned some different figures. So not that you want to pick favorites, but we're human and we just gravitate to favorites. You mentioned Uriel at one point. Do you have a go-to? Either you're having a hard moment, the thinking's encroaching in, the walls are closing in, as you got triggered or whatever it is. Who is the go-to archangel or angel or relative or guide? Who's your absolute, like, hey, help me out of here to here, like that?
First would be my sister Bonnie. She is my gatekeeper, and that's what when she passed, and I was really in a beautiful place, and she came to me and she handed me a golden key. And she said, you are the one that can unlock the doors to receiving what you really need for you and everybody else. So again, I trust completely my sister. And she opened up that energy where I really work even deeper with spirit and with my clients. So she is the first person when I will kind of say, you know, what do you think of this? Is this the right kind of thing for me to do? And she will help me kind of just come back into balance and align with my own center. After that, it will be Ella Pedro, my wonderful guide, who I connected with many years ago. And he still makes me smile because he has the brightest blue eyes, a cheeky smile, but he paints his toenails red. So the first thing I saw was his toenails. And I thought I was dealing with a female guide. And as I worked up through the body, I realized this ain't no female, this is a male guide. And I knew that he was there to make me smile. And he, every time I see him or feel his energy with me, I feel softness and light, and I just feel like smiling. So he always brings me back to me. Uriel, I love working with Uriel. Uriel helps with any emotional stuff that I might be going through, or with my clients. I ask Uriel to come in quite a lot. Archangel Michael, because of his strength and courage, but I also feel like he's a warrior. He's going to fight for us. He's going to fight for us. He's going to stand up for us. But he's also not going to stand for any nonsense in ourselves. And he's going to say, you have the courage to do this. You have it. I'm going to show you and remind you. And I feel his strength, you know, really strong with me. Oh, there's so many. I could list and list and list. But they're kind of the four main ones, Michael, that I would go to.
Well, Michael has a long Hollywood celebrity rap sheet, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm going to bring in some photos and we can go just step by step, but I'll put a photo of angels up. These are just, they're historical photos, like Mother Teresa's historical photo. And that's easy. And a photo can move and change, you know, wink, smile, whatever, all the stuff that we think is not possible. These are just angels, and there's a million ways to see or feel angels all over your person. Light energy form is what I'll say. But here's a photo of 4 archangels: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. Now, you can do all 4 at once. You can just have one. You can get a topic and talk to us and run with it, but please be sure you get an extra hug. And if you don't mind using extra words for all this, because I'm pretty sure that all of us out there who do some listening, feeling, you know, your soccer player kicking a soccer goal is not going to run to the sidelines and describe to his team, hey, this is what it felt like. Boy, did I bang that one in. You just go on to the next soccer goal. So if you don't mind adding extra flavor so people can appreciate, it would be like a food show. You're tasting the food and we're going to share the judging on it just a little so we can get the extra flavor of what the eggs, the salmon, the this, the that was all about. That'd be great. So here's 4 archangels in light energy form. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, in no particular order. People can figure out who's who and get it any which way but loose, if we can use a Clint Eastwood movie name.
Lovely.
Okay, and what would you want to share with us? This, that, who did you connect to? All 4, one of them in particular?
Gabriel in particular, I think, what I felt like straight away is that he likes our message. He likes the message we're putting out into the world, which is always lovely to hear. And that we all have a really important message. So even if it is the soccer player on the field and he wants to inspire the young people that are watching, he's going to act a certain way. He's going to say, I struggled in training, but I came out to the match and I did everything the best way I could. And I got a goal. You know, it was amazing. And the young people are looking at him going, oh my God, I want to be him when I grow up. You know, he's amazing. But he's not just playing on the soccer field, he's also studying in school. And he also looks after his elderly grandmother at the weekends. And he volunteers sometimes to help out at the local community hall. That his message, the message that he's just living, is that we can do lots of things or a few things and we can put all our energy into them. And your message that you're giving to the world is you can be as involved in the world as you want. You can be as part of the world as you want to be. The only thing stopping you is yourself. What's your message? So if you're sitting here listening today to Michael's beautiful show, You know, what are you getting from this? You know, Gabriel again is for me the messenger, and he's working through all of us. What is the message you're receiving from our conversation today on this show? What are you feeling inside of yourself? What's the message you need to hear and remind yourself on a daily basis? Whether you're sitting now in a coffee shop and, you know, listening to this with your earphones in and you're smiling to yourself, or you're going, God, I never thought of it like that, or maybe I could try that. And you take your earphones out for a few minutes, and then there's two people having a conversation, just talking about what you were thinking about.
Yeah,
And maybe it's the teacher in school that's feeling, you know, that the workload is a lot and there's a lot going on. And one little child comes in the next morning with a rose and says, Thank you, teacher. You're the best teacher in the world. That child is receiving your message. You've just forgotten it for a few moments because you were tired. But that child is like the earth angel. The rose is your beautiful sign to say your message is getting through. You know, you are doing a really good job. Keep believing in yourself, because the minute you start saying, oh, this is too hard, then the message is getting blocked from being sent out to whoever you'd like it to be sent to. So again, I'm doing my best. Take some time for yourself. Maybe the message is to take some time to pause, to check in. What's your soul message to yourself right now? That's what I believe Gabriel was saying to me.
Beautiful. I'm going to do Gabriel again, but a direct photo. We're going to do, instead of the American Independent, that show, it's called Hot Ones with all the hot sauce. It goes from like a factor of 100 up to 40 million. I forget what it's called, the terminology, the SCOTUS or something like that, but it's the hot factor. And then, you know, at the end, you earn some media time. Shaq has been on there, actors, actresses, you name it. But, you know, they got a glass of milk, whiskey, nothing will put the burn out. This is the opposite. This is the cool ones. And so tons of cool folks, tons of cool angels. You're super cool. Here's Gabriel directly. If you don't mind being on the hot seat, the cool seat here, 3 hugs, 3 compliments. It's sometimes hard for us to receive extra. Get 3 beautiful compliments. We'd ask that you share 1 out loud. And so now you're in the cool seat here. So leave your eyes on the photo. Enjoy the extra purpley light that's coming through, or the rainbow light on this side. And get what you can for 3 hugs, 3 compliments. And if you don't mind sharing 1, I know this is just not what we do on podcasts, but, you know, let's break the rules.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. So what I got, the compliment I had was, which is very funny, it's that my soul has always had a clear vision, and I eventually caught up and started to see it, which was lovely. And again, I talk about that, you know, sometimes we feel something deeply, but we can't see it clearly in our own mind. But when we give ourselves the space to do that, and that's what Gabriel is, the messages are always coming in, give ourselves space, receive, listen, and then we will start seeing things a little bit more clearly in our own lives and in the world.
Okay, Michael, I'll do a direct photo of Michael in a second. And we don't have to go to India. I don't want to put it any other way because I got tons of India figures. But for now, the mantra thing, that saying that you say and you feel your vibe go up, you kind of connect more. That doesn't have to be India and a guru. But here's Michael. Can you get a hug, get a personal thing done, anything at your end? And then can you ask for a nice reminder for us all that's almost like just 10 words or less, a reminder mantra that we can incorporate more often?
Thank you. So the power is always inside me. I trust and believe in myself and the guidance I am receiving at this moment.
And you're making me laugh, because between Charlotte and everybody else, I'm constantly reminded for 10, 11, 12 years now, like, hey, just stay the course. Geronimo said the other day, dig deeper. You already know this. Like half the time now, if I do these legal pads of questions, whether it's someone else listening on my behalf because I'm human, or I do my own listening, half the time there's a line drawn through the whole section. They're like, dude, just time out. You're asking, you know, like it's more worrying than it is really wanting the answers. You're fine. And so on. So with that, Get something private on your own path ahead from Joy, who's just Sparkle Joy, the emotion Joy, the ambassador communicator. She's here to help the audience member let go and connect better, or to just trust their beautiful energy. And so Joy is a delight. And then she'll have a reminder or something to pass along that you're just immediately like, oh, yeah, I wanted to say that half an hour ago.
Mm.
And get a floral smell too. And then will you share with us what you got? Anyone at home can do this. Just ask for it. If you have to close your eyes to get it, us in America, we love to close our eyes to listen, but I think that's universal as well.
Mm. Thank you. Well, what I could feel and see first was this beautiful wild pink rose that we have growing here in Ireland. And it was actually with the rain just after falling, and there's a really strong fragrance of it in the air. That's what I could feel. So to me, that represents, being wild and free and allowing ourselves to grow, even if it's a little bit wildly, but just to grow and stop restricting and pruning ourselves back to, what we need to be or what we think we need to look like. It's to grow wildly and free within our own lives and within our own hearts. Um, for me, I am always going on about the joy of life, and that if you can't feel joy right now, to go back and remember a time when you did feel joy and to keep focusing on that joy, remembering it, what it felt like, where it felt like in your body, and breathe into it and let that energy expand, because that's the energy of joy. It's letting it expand in and around you and all around you and let it grow into your own life. And then you're drawing joy towards you instead of focusing on the lack of joy. So
And
for me, it's wild, free, and expansive.
and you just reminded me of, I think, a conversation last year with you that is one of the most beautiful, I mean, I don't want to say techniques, but just you often remind people to go back to a super pleasant memory, a place,
Mm.
and that vibration in theory has never left them. So to quote Mary, the big Mary, love is
Yeah.
a constant, love is all there is in and around you. Open your eyes to see love. But you say it a different way, and you do it through what you just mentioned, a vacation memory or a family loving memory or the this or the that. Can you
Mm.
rephrase that all to remind us that that is one of the million entrance points back into your heart and all,
Mhm.
and to reconnect to all. But you've got that brilliant, again, not a method or technique, but it's just a reminder that you do for folks that they've got it. Talk to us more about that memory.
So if I said earlier on, you would have said it's sometimes not the words or, the what was going on out here, but it's the experience, the feeling of it. So the feeling of everything is kept within us. We have that feeling.
Mm.
When we have memories, it triggers that feeling, whether it be joy, sadness, love, whatever it's going to be. So if you're not feeling joyful or loved, or, your happiest best self, or, you feel like you're not doing anything in particular for yourself, you go back to a time first where you could feel joy. So that even could go back to your childhood. Maybe it was playing in the playground. Maybe it was your best friend and you cycling around the fields. Maybe it was laughing when you were being tickled by your brother or sister. Maybe it was an animal that loved you unconditionally.
Mm.
Whatever it is, go back in, be aware of where you feel it in the body, close your eyes, go back to the memory. Where do I feel it in my body? Breathe into it, focus on it, and let it expand. Imagine it has a color, and you could let that color expand throughout all of your cells and all around you, and sit in it and feel it, so that you can't say there's no joy in my life, because you have it inside of you already. The same with love. And if you're feeling like, oh, I'm not really doing anything, go back to a time where you really felt like you'd achieved something, whether it was getting a certificate for finishing a course, whether it was doing your first 5K and getting a medal at the end of it. Maybe it was getting a promotion at work. Maybe it was getting a pay rise in your first job, and that excitement and exhilaration. Go back to the feelings of when you were doing really well in your life and bring them in here, and again help them to balance out all of those feelings of less than or not good enough or no joy or not loved, because all of those feelings are within you. You just have to reawaken them and bring them to life again, and show your mind and your body and your energy that this is who you are. It's all within you. And let that flow out to the universe, and you will get much more of it coming back your way.
2 words: nose and forehead. And so I'm going to encourage the audience to go back and watch this all over again and to pick up on Sharon Fitzmaurice. And in America, I'll mispronounce it as Sharon Fitzmaurice, only to help you with the spelling of it. Sharon Fitzmaurice Podcast, Sharon Fitzmaurice, mindfulness.com. But pick up on her energy, not just pick up on it, but see her energy. So I keep doing this, and I'm not one that says I see auras on people all the time or anything like that. Coming out of the Boston Marathon, that was the first time. I'd been a little ill, knew there was no chance of probably finishing it, but I had a good attitude. Dropped out at the half marathon mark, but was content. Mostly runners beat themselves up. There's no way they'd ever be happy about dropping out of a race, but I was like, hey, I got away with it, and I ran a really good pace. But on the JetBlue flight back from Boston to Austin, I started seeing auras on like every other person. Now, if it's ever black and everyone don't get on the plane, that's my advice to you. But back to the podcast here, we have such amazing energy here, and I just abstracted you. Sorry about that. So Sharon's energy is amazing. Pick up on it, but see it. So nose, look at her nose. Don't make eye contact. I don't care if this is 2030 and you're just watching a rerun here. But look at her nose, feel if you have to put your hand on your heart and let go. But then go to the forehead if you need more help. If you need to play some music in the background, and that'll distract the psyche side of you, Radiohead, Lotus Flower, something. Grimes or Cannons, the progressive modern alternative music that I recommend. Yay. Alto, a lot of high vibe. See her energy as we talk, because it keeps happening to me. And then if you want a little ball of light to come in, that's an angel, just one of a million ways. It could be the tufted titmouse or cardinal or robin. Another angel named Charlotte, a teacher. She's super fun. Get something private for you, Sharon, to thank you again for being on the show with us today. But get something for all of us. She has been around the block. She's done a stint as a human. I know there's, different folks who will tell you different things about angels. I just go with what I hear. I don't ask about my past lives, so I'm going to throw myself under the spiritual bus. I mean, I was a woman in childbirth who died with a sock. I was going to stumble and stutter there, and I did. A sock stuffed in my mouth, and then I was a merchant marine person in the Mediterranean who drowned on the merchant marine ship, Roman army, maybe a gay man in the South who was shot or hung. I forgot which. I've got like a dozen others. A healer in Germany, David Fuller, in the late 60s, 80s, somewhere in there, used to do legit hand on the head trauma release. So I don't know anything about that one. That was interesting, and I do try to pay attention to that one. But here's Charlotte. Get something nice and private and fun for you, but at the same time, a great topic for us, because you are just is that the right way to say it? A resource. And we need to get another bucket of water out of that well.
Something for myself.
Yes. And a big hug or 2 or 3 to say thank you again for doing this for us.
Lovely, thank you. So yes, I got a lovely hug, and I got a beautiful message for myself, which again will be for everybody if this comes to plan, and I'll surrender it all to the universe and know that it will be there when I need it. But for everybody else, and I'm smiling because Charlotte is a teacher, and we all have teachers, not necessarily our school teachers or spiritual teachers, but we have teachers within our families and within our friendships that are teaching us something about ourselves. So it's like you said, we don't have to look to all of these outside sources and all of these people that we believe are so evolved, that it could be somebody, it could be a child within your family, again, a pupil with a teacher, it could be your bus driver. And it's the words and the message that they speak at that moment. And if it stops you in your tracks, if it makes you sit up and think about it, you've received a teaching moment. And what do I feel? What has this taught me about myself? But everything in life is teaching us something. Everything that we've experienced in this life, good, bad, or indifferent, is teaching us something. So if we consider ourselves to be those eternal students and a student of this beautiful planet and this universe, we'll receive those teachings with grace, even if they're not the best ones, and go, I know it's teaching me something. I'm not sure what that is right now, but that's okay. So even when you're struggling, not just in the great times, but even when you're struggling, know that you are learning something about yourself, and that out of that experience, there will come something very positive. That that's just, beautiful energy. One follows the other. It's just a cycle. And for you to flow with it, to stop getting stuck within your own self-limiting thoughts, and to let your energy flow a little bit more. And if you can teach yourself to be more grateful about the life you have now, to anchor yourself in your breath every day, to connect with nature more, to hear the whispers of the trees, to allow the angels to give you those signs and messages in the most simplest of forms that you're aware and open to, you'll receive all of that. Every single day you'll receive it, but it's being open to it, because when we tell ourselves we're no good and it's not happening for me, we're blocking ourselves from receiving it. So open your heart, make it an intention today as you're listening to this beautiful show, and say, I'm going to open my heart and my mind a little bit more every day after listening to this. I am willing to receive the abundance of the universe and everything that is there for me, all for my highest good. And just say thank you every day.
I am borrowing a page out of the Sharon Fitzmaurice playbook by saying one word after all of that. Lovely.
Lovely. Lovely.
And I love it. Okay. You mentioned fairies, and here's one named Ginger. Tinkerbell exists. I've got a photo of her. If I remember, I'll do that as well. But anything fun, short, sweet for all of us. But let me get her up close, because there's a lot of rainbow light. Ooh, my light's catching it in a certain way. Hold on.
That's okay.
I don't know if I can get the detail in there. It's all turning into white light, but there we go. You either get the up close or not, but
yep.
What do you got from Ginger for all of us?
Fun. Oh my God. Have as much fun as you can. Get out dancing. Stop sitting around on your backsides waiting for the world to come in and knock on your door. Get up in your kitchen and your dance. Go out and find ways to live joyfully and have as much fun as often as you can. Laugh as often as you can. Find funny comedies to watch on television, funny movies. Don't just sit there and believe, nothing good is happening in your life. Create laughter in your life. That is a beautiful vibration that brings in so much as well. My angels and guides are always laughing with me. I don't think they're laughing at me. I think they're laughing with me.
I bring a lot of entertainment to my crew. I know that. And that's good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know what? Have some more fun. Go out, and if you didn't get to experience that much fun when you were younger, there's nothing stopping you now. Go into a playground, sit on the swing and swing. Go down the slide, go into the swimming pool, go down the roundabout things, the big slides, whatever it is. Do something that's playful for yourself. Go out and have more fun in your life. Go with friends that are fun and they love to, go a little bit wild. There's your wild and free again. Stop limiting yourself to being stuck in this mode, and just expand the energy and have lots more fun.
I know the angel Joy at one point said, laugh more. Your laughter is hope and healing for others. So I thought that popped up as you were saying what you said. Yeah. Okay, now let's go cool ones, hot ones, whatever the show is called, the extra bonus round here. Let's go up a notch, and not to put you on the hot seat or cool seat, but you're super cool. Ask all 4, 5, 6, what is that? 4, 7 folks here if you've got this. And you should hear you've got it. And then I haven't said what it is, but did you get a thumbs up? Okay, so just ask for a little bit of visual. You don't have to share it, but in the room around you, either glitter, butterflies, a combination, the fairy shows up Disney-esque or something, but get some light, share what you want to share, but allow a lot of it to be compassion and flowing through you. So you're almost like, oh my God, get me a cigarette. That was a lot. but receive what you can receive and share what you want to share. But that's also personal in a way. But again,
Yeah.
no limits. So we're not used to asking for answers to questions, hugs, or even a little bit of light around us to go, oh my God, 4th of July in America. Beautiful. And can we do it again?
What I feel, and again, I always go to, you know, first what I feel inside, and then I allow my eyes to be drawn to it. And there is a beautiful white thorn tree out in the distance, and it's blowing very gently, and it's coming alive, it's blossoming. And we sometimes forget to blossom. We forget to just be present within ourselves, and we can still blossom. We don't always have to be chasing things. And this tree is standing proud and tall, and the branches are extending out, and the flowers are in abundance everywhere. And it's just showing itself for who it is. So the message I got was, be yourself, be your authentic self, be true to yourself, follow your heart, grow and develop, stretch out those branches, let your energy expand, and everything you need and want will come into your life for your highest good, as and when you need it.
Wow. And I feel like we had a little pop-up. I don't know if it was on my screen or your screen, but it said verifying OneDrive. And in a way that's identical to the message that we just were talking about with the tree. So a little angel humor in one sense. I know I started a Twitter account 10, 11, 12 years ago, and I was writing a book. It was Glow Stick Zen, but it's really 2/3 by the crew, angels and everything. And there's a chapter called Concrete Thinking. And an Italian concrete manufacturing company followed my account that had like 10 followers. And so no international company had a business, had any business following my little account. And so it was more humor. And I don't think they realized they were following me. Like a year later, they weren't following me anymore. But it was total synchronicity and total angel humor, concrete thinking.
Absolutely.
Concrete manufacturing system company. I have a photo of it and it still makes me laugh. Big Mary, I'm going to use a historical photo of someone from the last 30 years, but she's all about love, reminding us that it's here. I'm going to forget all my words, that it's in you, around you. Open your eyes and see with all of you more love anytime you wish. It's a constant. But here's Mary, if you don't mind, a little bit of rainbow-like glitter somewhere or within you, or feel it, but get what you can about a reminder for us all to simply love more.
Thank you. Beautiful. Straight away, she drew me towards her eyes. And again, a lovely reminder, I'm always saying this, the first person we connect with usually is ourselves in the morning as we look in the mirror to brush our teeth or wash our faces. And look into your eyes and really connect with yourself. And then when you're connecting in through your eyes, you're connecting to your heart and to your soul, and reminding yourself and starting that day with your intention through that awareness that you are the person, and that person in the mirror is always going to be staring back at you. They're always going to be with you. So to give yourself what you need before you start looking as to what you have to give to everybody else in that day. So the love that you can feel and receive from the reflection in the mirror is the person that's always going to be with you.
Now, because you're in Ireland and I totally forgot where we were, I'm going to do the traditional thing, because the traditional drawing, only because my history with 25 plus people from Ireland is they have to have it this way. So forgive me for giving. I love that other photo. To me, it just, oh my God, the eyes. But here's the traditional way, and I'm so sorry. And if you don't mind, just one more thing from Mary real fast. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So again, I'm always drawn into the heart of Mary. Again, like all mothers, they give so much of themselves, sacrificing a lot of their lives for everybody else. And I feel that, you know, she's opening her heart to help carry the burden if it's too heavy for your heart. So again, don't feel like you're alone. If Mother Mary is someone that you resonate with, surrender up your worries from your heart to her. She has so much energy to hold on to it for you and to help you to let it go. So don't carry the burdens of the world in your heart. Pass them on.
And
let someone else carry them.
Yeah, there's 3 Native American chiefs. I'll skip the names right now, but they just were talking about her. This is years ago. She's love. She's everything we need to know. If we all had her faith and trust, there'd be no more need for fear or worry. I know when I go for runs, that's when if anything subconsciously is kind of bubbling around and I haven't resolved it or let it go, I'll start talking to different figures or just be like, hey, what do you got for me? You know, but you get to Mary and it's I mean, I must have heard it 2,000 times now. She's like, you have an incredible angel crew, use them. But she doesn't say it quite that way. She's much more short and simple. She's like, use your angels. You've got angels, you know?
Yeah.
So Mother Teresa, with your permission, just a great sense of humor, a great laugh, great sparkle.
I feel like service when the energy around Mother Teresa, that she was in service to the institution she worked for, to the people that she provided for. So again, it can be a double barrel thing for this one. It's like, who are you in service to? And the compassion part that comes under what was written on the card there, it was, you know, have compassion for yourself. If you're in service to something that's not sitting with you, you know, why are you doing it? So where would you rather be? So be more compassionate with yourself and say, what do you want or who do you want to be in service to? So I'm in service to all the souls that have incarnated on this earth at the same time as me. And we're in service to each other to help us all grow, heal, and evolve and bring on more knowledge and wisdom out into divine consciousness. So we can share it and it'll be infinite forever and ever and ever and ever. So who are you in service to? Does this sit with your own values? Are you in service just for financial gain, or are you in service for the good of your soul and the souls of everybody else? And that's not going from a big spiritual aspect, but on a human level, you know, is this serving you? Is what I'm doing today serving me? If it's not, why are you still doing it? What would serve you better? So come back and be in service to yourself and to others, always for your highest good.
Ooh, good reminder. Are you wasting energy or creating energy? And that energy is love. You can't go wrong with love, and even good business or good anything is love. Okay, Claire, an angel who's all about resilience. You're gonna like joyride thrill on this one. Claire, and get whatever you wish from her and share whatever you wish.
Thank you. Well, absolutely. I feel from Claire, you know, I can see my own resilience over the years, and I've been reminded on many times I've had to do little talks, but that also a lot of people don't realize how resilient they are until later on in life, and they realize they've come through a lot and they have such inner strength within them. And even if you're going through a difficult time right now, if you're listening to this, that you are strong. I want you to again go back to another time where you thought it was really hard to get through, but you got through it. And now you think, oh my God, well, I did get through that. So I can get through this as well. But sometimes you're enduring it to learn something from it. So, you know, be compassionate with yourself, be kind to yourself, and remember you're stronger than you know. You are so resilient. So to keep going back to the time where you got through something hard, and you'll get through this as well. You are amazing.
So the same act of letting go, action, and learning from the past, where you know with the perspective of a decade later, you're like, oh, that was actually a good thing. Ted Lasso season 3, I mentioned it on something else the other day. The Amsterdam scene, the guy on the houseboat says, events don't happen to you, they happen for you. And I almost sat up and I was like, oh my God. But back to, it's the same letting go, the same pattern or act of letting go, the same act of action, the same act of learning in that moment. So you've already got the skills, but you do have to kind of wake up to the opportunity of, hey, it's for me to grow or to appreciate in some way. Good luck with that. We all have to pay the bills, or we all stress about losing a job or the relationship or this or that. Welcome to being human. Here's one named Lucy, who's an angel who's all about patience. A key ingredient, by the way, on giving yourself self-love, allowing life to unfold more. And she's absolutely lovely, wonderful.
What I've got straight away from Lucy is, and many times people say, oh, I have tried all that asking and believing and it hasn't come my way, you know. and I'm not doing it anymore. And the patience is, again, if we go back to some of the points we've said, is some of the times you're asking for things, they're not really for your highest good.
Mm.
You know, they don't need to come into your life. They're not going to serve you well. But maybe there is something better out there for you. Maybe if you create space within your life, you have patience with yourself, you go in under the needs and wants, and you'll say, what is it I feel I'm lacking, and where is that coming from? That I can have patience with myself. I can learn to get to know myself, be more aware of what my needs are. And then I can empower myself by asking for what I definitely need and having patience in the trust and belief that it will come at the right time for you, not when you need it to, like when you expect it to come, but when you are ready to receive it into your life. And I think on that final message for all of us is believe in yourself first and foremost. Believe that as you're listening to this, there's a reason, there's synchronicity why you found this show today with myself and Michael, and that someone is directing you towards this message so that you will bring it into your life, bring it into your heart, bring it into your soul. And maybe tomorrow morning you'll wake up taking that first deep, beautiful breath, anchoring yourself, and making an intention that will start expanding your energy out, and that you'll become this amazing bright light that people start to notice, and opportunities will start coming your way, loving people will come your way, and you'll know what you deserve and what's right for you. And
Ooh,
that's my lovely message for you all.
I-
I'm going to have to go,
oh,
Michael, now.
yes.
I'm sorry. Yes.
We'll wrap it up, and that was such a beautiful ending for us.
Thank
We
you.
had Sharon Fitzmaurice on from Ireland, West Ireland near Galway, the Sharon Fitzmaurice Podcast. Intuitive, a healer in a bunch of different ways. Even if she doesn't want to use the healer word, it's what she facilitates for others with all her various work, retreats, workshops, nature walks, multiple books, and so on. Sharon Fitzmaurice. Mindfulness.com is our website. Sharon, it's been a treat having you on. Thank you so much for your motivation today. You have given us, beyond the words, and beautiful words they were, you've given us that vibration that we only wish we could have more often from everyone around us. So thank you for sharing so much of your love for life, for us, and for yourself, the self-love that you practice that shines right through you.
No, Michael, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I love chatting with you. I love the energy that you bring out, and that you're opening up this door for everyone to experience it as well. So yes, thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
Well, you've been a fantastic guest on Angels, Positivity, and Love. Look forward to having you back next year, and thank you again.
Thank you, Michael. Take care.